Hey guys, it's smeefu, and welcome back to another Deadlock patch review. This is episode 3. First thing I want to say is that 93% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so it would be a huge help if you could subscribe and like and comment down below any videos you'd like to see from me, as I'm trying to get back on the grind. Been busy with tournaments and stuff recently, but I do miss making these videos for you guys, and I try to make them as informative as possible, so yeah, subscribers would be loved. In this video, I'll go over every single hero, and the changes / nerfs or buffs, and I'll tell you what I think about them this patch. Without further ado, enjoy the video. So beginning with Abrams, he's had a few tweaks, nothing too big. He's had his base health reduced from 600 to 570, but he's also had his health per boon increased from 32 to 34, so his endgame health is pretty unchanged. Just a little bit less health early, I guess, to make him less oppressive in lane. They've fixed shoulder charge sensitivity exploit that allowed you to turn more than intended. I wasn't even aware of this. But they've added something really nice quality of life to his ult. Now you can move while you're in the air floating. So if you ult too close to a wall, you can go around the corner and still hit the person you're trying to hit. Praise the Lord, they murdered Bebop. So sticky bomb growth has increased from 2.5% to 4% per stack. However, he now loses 2 stacks of it on death, and it has 15 max stacks, so you can't get past plus 60, as you'll see. The hook range has been increased from 25 meters to 30 meters, but hook now hits troopers, killing them instantly. What it doesn't say in the patch notes is that it also hits your own troopers, so you can literally just hide behind minions in lane, and Bebop hook is no longer scary, thank God. They've also made it so it respects line of sight pretty disgustingly as well. So now even if you're peeking, like Viscous could shoot me here, but I can't hook him. That's insane. Like, they have genuinely murdered this hero's early game completely. They've also touched his ult as well, so his late game's gotten worse for some reason. The movement slow on his hyper beam is reduced from 30% to 25%. And the duration of the ability no longer scales with spirit power either. So a massive blow to late game ult Bebop. The base duration has been increased from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Still not great. And uppercut will now apply a 15% fire rate slow in the radius, and it scales with spirit power. Dynamo's had some very, very small tweaks. Quantum entanglement cooldown increased from 12.5 to 15 seconds, but T3 now reduces the cooldown by 4 seconds, so not really anything changed there. Kinetic Pulse T2 tooltip now clarifies that it affects bullets only and not melee damage. You see that in the tooltip. Wow, absolutely gigantic patch for Grey Talon. Arrow cycle time increased from 0.45 to 0.55 seconds, so you do more damage per shot but less fire rate. They fixed Rain of Arrows alternate cast, causing you to hit the ground super fast after casting. Guided Owl no longer collides with things just after you cast it. Fire rate no longer scales with spirit power, which sounds pretty bad, but then you learn that the base bullet damage of Grey Talon now scales with spirit power, so you can go full spirit build and have a crazy gun damage as well. Guided Owl 3 seconds grace period for kill increased to 4 seconds. The fixed Guided Owl grace period, still requiring that he gets the kill rather than just the target dying. Move speed no longer scales with spirit power, which is fine since they gave him the bullet damage. And based stamina increased from 3 to 4. So Haze has had a very interesting patch. I would say it's tweaks, but also maybe a buff. Not too sure. We'll need to play with this a bit. But fixation max stacks at base increased from 30 to 40, which means she can proc the T1 twice early game, which is huge for her. They reduced the weapon damage bonus from plus 0.2 to 0.15 on fixation T3. Bullet Dance no longer grants 15% fire rate. Pretty substantial nerf there. But the base ability now targets two players per shot. So that's a huge buff. You don't need T3 to make your ult really strong anymore. Base ability no longer grants 25% evasion. But the T3 gives you 40% evasion and plus 2 movement speed. So Infernus has had a pretty bad patch, to be honest. I'd say nerf because of items as well. Catalyst damage amp has been reduced from 25% to 20% at base. But the T3 damage amp has been increased from 15% to 20%. So now if you want a good amp, you're going to need to get the T3. I mean, 20% at base isn't bad. But here you'll see me testing out what's really bad for him. They made Spirit Lifesteal and Bullet Lifesteal stack diminishingly. So them two items should have given me 58%, but I'm only getting 50%. Enduring Spirit should give me 10% on top of that, but it's only giving me 5%. So this diminishing returns on lifesteal is definitely going to hurt heroes like Infernus. Not a great patch for him at all. Very nothing burger patch for Ivy. They've improved the default camera position, so it's a little bit nicer. You're higher up on the screen now, where your camera is. Take flight controls are now similar to Vindicta's, so you hold space to move up and crouch to move down. But you can still just move around with the mouse as well if you preferred that. And they've fixed some issues where control on take flight would bug when you were near a wall. I don't play Ivy, so I'm not sure how this was, but I guess it's fixed, so enjoy Ivy players. Lady Geist has had some tweaks, probably an overall nerf, I would call it. Apparently there was a bug that would cause some units to take more damage than intended with Essence Bomb when multiple targets were hit, and they fixed that now, so you'll only take one instance of damage. Life Drain can now be alternate casted on allied heroes to give them health, but I could not get it to work here. Maybe they'll fix it by the time the video is out. I have no idea how this works. Seems weird. I don't want to give away more of my health on Lady Geist, to be honest. They've added double tap protection on Life Drain to help against instant cast cancellations. Malice slow duration reduced from 6 to 4. Malice amp duration reduced from 16 to 13. And as the opponent, you can now see how many Malice stacks you have on you. Lash with a nerf here. His base bullet damage again nerfed from 10 to 9. So it's a 10% base nerf. Pretty bad, to be honest. Flog heal has been nerfed in both cases against players and creeps. 80% to 70% on players and 30% to 25% against creeps. So not a great patch for Lash, though I'm sure he's still strong. So McGinnis has had a lot of changes this patch. Honestly, unsure whether it's buff or nerf. I'm just going to call it tweaks for now. She no longer gets her 25% spirit resist off spawn, but she does get 15% bullet resist, so I guess it depends in your match whether that's a nerf or not. Mini turrets T1 no longer grants +1 charge. Mini turrets duration have been reduced from 30 seconds to 24 seconds, but their cooldown has also been reduced the exact same from 30 seconds to 24. The health scaling has been reduced from 30% to 20%, so they're a little bit less tanky later. The recharge time has been reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds, which means when you have multiple charges of the ability, you can place one every 3 seconds now instead of every 5 seconds. They've also increased the cast range of turrets from 15 meters to 20 meters, so you can throw them really far. They've made Ricochet work on turrets. Ricochet now bounces off them. Mini turret damage reduction against enemy troopers / neutrals increased from -40% to -50%, so they're tankier against turrets and neutrals, and they're also tankier against objectives. They now take -70% damage from objectives. Mini turret spawn time reduced from 1 second to 0.25 seconds, so they become active quicker once you place them. Mini turret attack delay reduced from 0.35 to 0.2 seconds, and heavy barrage radius increased from 4.5 to 5 meters, so a lot of changes. So Mirage has had a lot done as well. I'd say overall a buff. Mirage's Tornado now uses range for its travel distance instead of travel duration. So it will scale with Mystic Reach on how far you go rather than with extended duration. Enemies that have already been hit by fire scarabs now let the next scarab projectile pass through them, which is really nice, though it wasn't working here when I tested it. So I'm not sure if they'll have fixed that by the time the video's out. I hope they have. Mirage's Jin's Mark base damage reduced from 16 to 12, but the scaling has been increased from 0.4 to 0.55, which is insane. Reveal duration also increased from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. Traveler TP now causes your camera to move to the destination during the channel, so you can actually see where you're going to be going, which is amazing. T1 on Traveler is now +2 meters per second instead of cooldown. T2 is minus 30 seconds cooldown, and it was plus 2 meters per second. And T3 fire rate increased from 20 to 30%. Good patch for Mirage. Mo and Krill with some buffs. Combo T1 now grants 30% bullet resist while channeling, but no longer gives you the minus 28 seconds cooldown. But that's okay, because the next change is that combo cooldown is reduced at base from 95 to 75 seconds. So definitely an overall buff here. So Paradox with a boatload of changes here, and I would say an overall nerf. To start with, her bullet growth per boon has been increased from 0.33 to 0.45, which is quite substantial. Decent bit more damage. Time wall bullet duration reduced from 1 second to 0.7 seconds, so bullets will go through it faster. And time wall has been fixed when it doesn't spawn looking down while casting, so now it will spawn properly. The nerf, though, that I think is pretty significant and makes this an overall nerf for her is paradoxical swap cooldown has been increased from 48 to 65 seconds. And the range has been reduced from 30 meters to 25 meters. And now the T1 is not the extended range. It is minus 15 seconds cooldown. You have to now get the T3 upgrade on paradoxical swap to get it at a big range. It's now at plus 20 meters range increase. Huge nerf paradox in my opinion. Pulse grenade radius reduced from 7 meters to 6 meters. The damage amp per stack increased from 5% to 6%. The T3 no longer increases the damage amp by 2%, but the T3 does increase the radius by 1 meter per pulse. So you can see here with these two items just how big you can get this pulse grenade. Maybe we'll see Paradox grenade builds popping up. Could be pretty disgusting in team fights, to be honest. Pocket has had another overall nerf this patch. Shotgun fall off start has been reduced from 22 meters to 16 meters. So now his bullets damage starts to fall off past 16 meters rather than 22, which is obviously a nerf. Enchanter's satchel damage now respects line of sight, so you won't be hitting people through walls with Enchanter's satchel anymore. Which again, it makes sense, this change, but it's another nerf to Pocket. It hurts him. Nice quality of life, though, is that while you're in Enchanter's Satchel, you'll now see the AoE indicator for whether damage is actually going to be done. Affliction DPS. Spirit power scaling reduced from 0.4 to 0.34, though in-game it's actually reduced to 0.3, so even heavier reduction. Barrage radius reduced from 6.5 meters to 4.5 meters. And now, to get that 2 meters of radius back, you will have to get T3 on Barrage. So I think Pocket is still a good hero, but you know, how many more of these nerfs can he take before he's literally unplayable? Nerf after nerf for Pocket, and this patch is definitely no different. 7 with some tweaks this patch, I'd say overall a little bit better. His base health regen has been increased from 1.5 to 3. So with extra regen, you now have 6 health regen in lane. That's 60 health every 10 seconds. It's pretty insane. It's going to be pretty hard to push 7 off his turret now. Move speed scaling with spirit power has been reduced from 0.028 per spirit to 0.02. So he's going to be less fast late game, but it's not too bad. Lightning Ball T3 increased from plus 1 meters to plus 2 meters. And in the notes, it did say that he would be able to dash in his Storm Cloud, but maybe they had problems with that. It seems like it's removed now. So Shiv has received some love this patch. Slice and Dice Spirit scaling increased from 1.2 to 1.3. Slice and Dice T1 improved from minus 3.75 seconds cooldown to minus 4 seconds cooldown. Rage decay rate reduced from 0.35 to 0.25, so he loses rage slower, which means obviously it's good. You're going to have more rage for a longer time. But also the rage buffer duration increased from 7 seconds to 12 seconds. So you see now I have to stand here for a long time, not doing anything, 12 seconds exactly before my rage starts going down. So this is going to feel really nice on Shiv. Wow, so where to start? Vindicta has had a horrible patch. They've reverted recent fall-off damage changes, which was good. So now her fall-off is increased from 58 meters to 64 meters. Which is obviously a good thing, right? but her bullet damage growth per boon reduced from 0.79 to 0.55. That is a disgusting nerf. That's huge. Flight duration no longer scales with spirit power as well. Again, horrible. She hates that. Flight T2 now increases the flight duration by 6 seconds, but that's not going to cut it compared to what you used to be able to get. Flight's bonus move speed above base now scales at 50% effectiveness, so she's not going to get as fast when flying as she was last patch. She no longer has minus 10% base bullet resist, so that's kind of nice, I guess. Health growth per boon reduced from 20 to 15, so she's even squishier than before. Gun cycle time increased from 0.22 to 0.26, but DPS is the same, so more damage per bullet, less bullets per second. Stake duration reduced from 2 seconds to 1.75 seconds. Assassinate bonus souls are now unsecured. So you can really punish Vindictas and steal huge bags now after team fights. Shooting while flying now has a similar speed impact as on the ground, so you do need fleet foot if you want to go fast while flying and shooting. Flight air acceleration has decreased a little bit, and crow percentage damage no longer affects the mid-boss. So overall, a really, really bad patch for Vindicta. She's definitely hurting and not enjoying this one too much. So overall, I'd say Viscous has had some tweaks. They've nerfed his goo ball playstyle, but buffed splatter and, non-ball Viscous. Goo ball no longer triggers on-hit effect while in ethereal shift. That was stupid, so you can't stun people in ethereal shift now. Superior stamina dash count not working with goo ball has been fixed, so you can now, triple jump if you have superior stamina while you're in the ball. Splatter base damage has been reduced from 100 to 90, which seems like a bad nerf, right? And the T2 reduced from 70 to 60, but they have increased the spirit scaling on Splatter from 1.5 to 1.9. So if you're building a lot of spirit, late game, Splatter is going to do a lot more damage than it did before. They've fixed instant cast not working on puddle punch. So now if you use instant cast, as soon as you press the puddle punch, it will cast and you don't have to click, which is genuinely a very good quality of life for Viscous, because the amount of times I try to punch people and the punch just doesn't come out because I click a little bit too late or something. It's really annoying. So instant cast is good for this hero. Warden with some tweaks, a little bit of nerf early on, but overall a buff, I would say. Alchemical Flask cooldown reduced from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. Alchemical Flask damage increased from 55 to 65, but now you don't get the damage talent at T1 anymore. You get +1 stamina reduction instead, and T2 is +50 damage. Last Stand channel duration has been reduced from 2.2 to 2 seconds, so it's faster to cast, and Last Stand's range increased from 12 to 30 meters. Wraith with some slight nerfs. Card Trick Spirit Scale reduced from 1.2 to 1.1. And her generation of cards via melees has been reduced by 50%. So you don't get cards fast from meleeing anymore. It takes 4 melees to generate 1 card, actually, without rapid recharge and T3 on card. So yeah, not big deal, but definitely a nerf, I would call it for sure. Yamato now with some pretty substantial nerfs, I would say. Power Slash cooldown has been increased from 8.5 seconds to 10.5 seconds. So early game, it's not going to be as horrible in lane. She's going to be doing it a lot less often. Power Slash T2 now also reduces cooldown by 2 seconds, so you get the cooldown back. But Shadow Transformation now no longer grants you bullet and spirit resist, which really, really hurts. And the duration has been reduced from 4.5 to 4 seconds. Hey guys, I've been smeefu. I will have a tier list for this patch coming out very soon, as I do think this patch has shaken up the meta quite a bit. Anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye.